why I decided to sell my YZ. What's good, boys? So we're out here in nature on the old mountain bike. It's gonna be raining this weekend, can't ride motocross really. We're out here ripping. I'm gonna hit a blind run on this trail to start off with. I kind of walked half of it, so I kind of know what I'm doing, kind of don't. Running no gloves today because I'm stupid. And yeah, that's about it. Let's go rip. Kind of ass. I got some comments recently talking about why I decided to sell my YZ for a KTM. So obviously I love the YZ, and to this day, honestly, which I'll get into, my favorite bike, period. Honestly, like the Yamaha two-strokes, they're so well made, dead reliable, dead simple. They're absolutely amazing bikes. So why did I sell mine? I kind of touched on it a little bit, but it kind of started when my YZ started having some suspension issues. Specifically, the rear shock just felt kind of soft, like abnormally. And when I messed around with the settings, it wasn't really doing what I was wanting it to. Also, the front fork seals were leaking, so I was going to take the bike in over the winter, get everything rebuilt. The bike would need a top end soon. So, you know, I was putting all the money together. It almost made sense, you know, try something different because I'm still young and I have the opportunity. It's like, you know, see what other brands have to offer. But, you know, I think I could have kept my YZ for sure. It was more of a want thing, I guess. I had everything listed out, had all the costs listed out, had like a whole plan, get plastics, graphics, exhaust, maybe even a carburetor, you know, everything. You know, I didn't know how much I wanted to invest in that bike, considering I knew I wasn't gonna keep it forever, and it's a lot of money just to throw away. You know, so I started looking around. My first thought was YZ250F. Love the Yamahas. Wanted to try a 4-stroke, but you know, it just didn't end up really making sense. Pretty light guy still. You know, I'm 15 years old. 250s are pretty heavy for me, and I'm already kind of short, so I didn't know how much I wanted to get something heavier, and I didn't know how much I wanted to deal with the maintenance of a 4-stroke, because I know it's less often, but it's harder, it's more expensive, and I like working on my own stuff. I don't take my bikes into dealerships. So anyways, I did actually go look at a YZ250F. I was gonna pull the trigger on a 25 because they made some changes that I liked. But, you know, like I said, those things, the maintenance costs and difficulty, the weight, and really I knew I didn't need the power of a 250. So I was thinking, hey, when I was younger, I used to watch this dude, Zay Solis. He had a 150SX, right? That thing was pretty sweet. And I knew I really liked it. I liked how it sounded, I liked how it looked, and I liked the idea of something in between a 125 and a 250. Let's hit a run. Sit it wheelie. That was kind of my thought process, and knew the 150. And also, you know, I knew I liked it before, right? And the 2025 model, KTM just came out with the 150SX. I'm like, great. I get something fuel injected, which frankly I wanted. I didn't want to deal with carburetors anymore because I wanted to try to ride a little more all year round. I wanted to try out air forks because I've heard a lot of negative things, but frankly, this thing has air forks and I love them. I know it's a little different, but I just like how easy they are to adjust. So, you know, it was kind of made sense on paper, right? Get a new bike, which is what I wanted. Get something with fuel injection, still simple to work on to an extent, 2-stroke and 150, so a little more power than my 125. There's people walking here, so I'm not gonna talk to myself. Checked all the boxes, checked one out, you know, sold my YZ, picked up a 150SX, and you know, I was kind of really torn on the decision for a while afterwards, but once I actually got the bike at home, I was psyched, right? Because, you know, brand new bike, like, can't really be that frustrated, can you? You know, thing was clean, first time owning a brand new bike. This is gonna be a long-term bike just because it is brand new. you know, it's a lot of money spent on a bike. So we're gonna keep it for a while, put all the hours on it myself. I know maybe some of the things are contradicting here, but you know, unlike my YZ, I knew I was gonna keep this thing for, or I knew I'm gonna keep this thing for a while, right? So it's less like throwing money at nothing. It's throwing money at something that I know I'm gonna keep for a while, you know? Took it for a short ride on New Year's because no one was outside. Never did that again because it's just sketchy with the, you know, how people are in my town, they get pissed. But yeah, then a little more, not too long after, took her out to the track for the first time, sand track. Didn't ride great, probably because I'm not used to the bike. On a separate note, I miss riding mountain bikes. I used to ride mountain bikes a lot more before I got really into dirt biking last year. I'm not like amazing, but I feel like I'm decent at riding mountain bikes. Hit jumps and wheelies and stuff, but I haven't, you know, I used to go to the bike park at least a couple times a year. Last year I only went once. This way. And my seat's up. Yeah, first ride, kind of slow. Second ride, also kind of slow, but a little better. I actually combined the first two rides, like footage for the video you saw, because I rode bad enough on the first one where I was like, I gotta try this again. You know, while I'm getting used to it, that was my first time riding dirt, so I noticed kind of the more stuff that I'd normally notice. Couple things I like, couple things I don't like. Let's start with the dislikes. The gearing. So obviously it's a 150, so it's got more pop in the bottom end than my 125 did. Like, it will wheelie out of corners. My 125 did not do that. And that's nice. You know, I'm glad to have more power. However, you know, it feels like the power curve, maybe I'll draw this when I get home. It feels like the power curve at the top, for some reason, feels like it dies out more than my 125 did. Like my 125 felt like nothing, everything all the way until you hit the highest possible point. This 150 feels like, you know, a lot more bottom end, everything, and then it dies out at the top. So I noticed that, like, you know, even before I hit the limiter, it just feels kind of sluggish in the top. And it's like when I'm hitting jumps and stuff, I gotta remember, like in the corner before, I gotta be up a gear higher and like slip the clutch a little more. Normally I'll just click down until I'm in first for slow corners, but now it's like I gotta remember keeping it second, slip the clutch a little more. I'm sure I'll be fine. Starting to get it a little bit at the end of last time, but second complaint, kind of half complaint, suspension. Front forks feel fine. Like, I adjusted the air forks a little bit at the beginning of the winter. You know, I check them occasionally. They work fine. It's just like a mountain bike. Like, I don't see the complaints really. I don't, unless you really are really about that feel. It doesn't feel much worse than my YZ. What does feel worse though is the shock, which is surprising because, you know, I was complaining about the shock on my YZ before, but like this thing for some reason, I think probably because it's still new, it's got less than 5 hours on it still. It's just hella stiff in the rear, right? And I'm assuming I gotta adjust it, get the sag a little lower, because obviously I haven't done that yet. That's my fault. I will do that next time I ride. I kind of learned my lesson there. So I'm gonna do that, assuming it'll be better. That's why it's a half complaint, just something to note. Everything else, you know, I'm either neutral on or I like. It's really mostly what the KTMs are known for now. Fuel injection and everything else. But, oh, fuel injection, phenomenal. Runs great all the time. Like, you know, I was kind of worried because some people did complain with their 23s and some 24s. They ran pretty bad from the factory. Ride my bike the same way I did my 125 carbureted, and perfect. No complaints. Thing runs great, thing sounds great. You know, you rev that thing, no bog, nothing. It's phenomenal. Exactly what I was hoping for. Also, by the way, you know, the reason why I'm filming this like this, it's like kind of been lazy. I don't really want to edit as much. With editing, I kind of like have phases, right? When I was younger, I used to edit a lot. Like I had a separate channel that I did like video game edits on and stuff. They weren't great looking back, but they weren't bad for my age, right? If I knew, I honestly don't know if you noticed this, I don't really know anyone who rides dirt bikes in my town. I don't know anyone who rides, but if I did, I'd love to start making edits and stuff. So here it is. This place is so much fun. I heard about this place like 2 years ago from someone who rides like another local spot, right? I never came out here and I don't know why. This place is hella fun. Hope you guys like the new KTM. I got some stuff coming for it. Bought a graphics kit, some plastics. Never had a graphics kit on my bike before, so I'm kind of hyped about that. Oh, funny story, speaking of graphics kits. First day I rode my KTM, I saw a YZ125, right? And the graphics had some dude's last name on it, and it was the same last name that was on my YZ when I bought it. So presumably, this guy had my YZ125, sold it, maybe had something else in between and got another 125. And the name, and I was like, huh, it's kind of sick. And, you know, he's ripping that thing on the sand track, so I thought that was cool. I don't know if mountain bike content would do good on this channel. I definitely like dirt biking more, which is why I kind of stopped riding mountain bikes when I got really into dirt biking. I took this thing out to the dirt jumps and started learning how to whip it a little bit, which tiny whips, but it's pretty fun just messing around on this thing. Like, it's so light, so easy. I don't know if I'm gonna put any of this part in the video. It's kind of boring.